Put on your headphones and get swept away as you take 14 young idol members under your wing. It's your job to support and help these young men reach their dreams. Welcome to Otome Gaming. This is a review of B-Project Rusei Fantasia for the Nintendo Switch. Full disclosure, I did receive a review copy of this game, however, all opinions stated are my own. I want to start this review off by clarifying that this is not an Otome game. There's no romancing individual characters or ending up with them. However, depending on your choices throughout the main story, you have a chance of unlocking specific character epilogues. There are some romance-adjacent activities during the game, like going on friendly dates, receiving phone calls and text messages, but it's a visual novel that follows the lives and careers of the idol group B-Project, a group of 14 boys ranging from ages 16 to 20. B-Project, also known as B-Pro, is a Japanese cross-media project about a group of virtual idols that began in 2015. Since then, the project has had 3 anime series, a manga adaptation, an iOS and Android rhythm game, a stage play, a radio show, multiple albums and singles, a range of related merchandise, and now a visual novel game localized for the West on both Nintendo Switch consoles and Steam. In B-Project Rusei Fantasia, you play as Tsubasa, B-Project's A&R. This is just a fancy title that says she's the group's manager. A lover of music with a sensitive ear, she's extremely diligent and a hard worker. You can really feel how much she truly cares for all the boys in B-Project, both as individuals and as a whole. Her enthusiasm for her work really rubbed off on me and had me caring about the future of the idol group. It also helps that Tsubasa is voiced by the lovely Seto Asami. Her calm and caring voice really helped bring Tsubasa's character to life for me, immediately enhancing and portraying the personality of her dialogue. One thing to note for players like me who like using the protagonist's default name because the other in-game characters will then use it in-game, this is not the case for B-Pro. The voice actors never say Tsubasa's name, so don't feel like you need to use her default name. Obviously, her name still shows up in text, it's just never spoken out loud by the actors.
これで大丈夫でしょうか？
バッチリよ。ありがとう。これで私も心置きなく打ち上げを楽しめるわ。
There are 14 male leads in B-Project. These idols are further split into 4 different groups that all come together to create the mega idol group B-Pro. The first group is Kitakore, the prince-type idol unit consisting of Kitakado Tomohisa, a gentle romantic from a wealthy family. He's deeply caring and a bit naive to the ways of the world outside his rich boy bubble. And Korekune Ruji. A working professional since childhood, Ruji can come off as harsh at times, but it's only because he holds both himself and his members to a professional standard and truly cares. The second group, Thrive, a wild-type idol unit, consists of Kaneshiro Goshi. He has a strong artistic vision and even works on Thrive's music on the production end. He has a sharp tongue that often has him bickering with his group members, but it's never out of malice. Ashu Yuta. His loud, happy-go-lucky attitude has Yuta coming across as a bit of an airhead, but he cares deeply for his members and is known to occasionally drop serious advice that shocks them all with its thoughtfulness. And Ayuzomi Kento. He's the flirty playboy of B-Pro, often making tiny passes at Tsubasa that go mostly unnoticed to the amusement of some of the other members. His outgoing attitude means he gets along with almost anyone, but it's sometimes used as a shield to hide his true feelings. The third group is Moons, a standard 5-member idol group consisting of Masunaga Kazuna, the kind leader of the group. He's always looking out for his members and bringing a warm atmosphere with him wherever he goes. He's a bit of a perfectionist. Onzai Momotaro. He has a quiet and mostly expressionless personality, but with a deep understanding of the emotions of those around him. He's adored by the other members of his group, but doesn't hold himself in as high of a regard as they do. Osari Hikaru. The outgoing mood maker, Hikaru has a bad habit of pushing himself too hard. He has a secret problem that he keeps hidden from his fans. Nome Tatsuhiro, the oldest of the group, he's calm and attentive to his surroundings, acting like the older brother who watches out for his members. He shows his more emotional, passionate side during concerts. And Sekimura Mikado. Smart and polite to outsiders and fans, he's a secret otaku who gets extremely excited about his hobbies and showers love and affection on his friends. He has little nicknames for everyone. And finally, the fourth group, Killer King, the junior group that consists of Teramitsu Yuzuki. Quiet and demure, he hates being the center of attention. He's a sweet boy who is the older twin of Haruhi. His name is translated to Yuruki, but it's definitely Yuzuki. Teramitsu Haruhi. Loud and energetic, he loves being the center of attention. He's a bit childish at times and is the younger twin of Yuzuki. Fudo Akane. The oldest member and leader of Killer King, Fudo is a straightforward person with a strong sense of responsibility, but he's also extremely sensitive and tends to underestimate himself. And Shingari Miroku, a competitive perfectionist with a stoic attitude. Once he sets his mind to something, he does it. His mature personality makes it hard to believe he's the youngest, but he does occasionally act his age. The first time you launch B Project, it throws you straight into the game with a prologue movie that helps set the mood as both hopeful but also melancholy, a warning of the struggles to come. After a successful performance to over 50,000 people at one of the largest stages in the country, the Japan Dome, we begin the story at a staff after-party to celebrate the boys and their success. We're introduced one by one to each member as they make their way into the venue, some of them gushing over the amount of delicious food on display, while others are there to help rein them in. It helps give you a taste of everyone's personality and how they interact with each other. You're also briefly introduced to your boss, the director and creator of B Pro, but it doesn't take long for the boys to catch you and whisk you away to their guest of honor table to celebrate with them. It's during this celebration that you all begin to reminisce about the past, discussing both how Tsubasa was scouted to become their manager, as well as how she first started to form true bonds with each of them as individual groups. Her high school job memories gave me customer service PTSD. As someone going in with no prior knowledge of B Pro's history or characters, I thought the game did a good job of easing the player into the game. With 14 idols to keep track of, I appreciated the intermittent flashbacks at the beginning. It helped build a better understanding of both Tsubasa as well as her dynamic with the boys. It helped me connect with her as a person and gave me a better understanding of why she cared so much about her job, other than just the standard employee obligation. Like I said before, you can really feel her passion and care. It seeps through the screen and caused me to care too. I was honestly surprised with how swept up I got in the story. It was interesting to see the different dynamics of each individual group as well as how they all came together as one huge unit. I especially found myself gravitating toward the group Thrive. The three members have such differing personalities that you would think they'd clash horribly. And they do bicker a lot, but it's like watching siblings fight. You can tell they care about each other and the teasing is how they express it.
今のはデリカシーとかそんな話じゃねえだろうが。
はあ？完全にそういう話でしかないと思うけど。
あ、そのお二人とも落ち着いて。はい、ごちん
あ
はい、ケンケンのお口にもローストビーフドーン。
やめ。
もう仲がいいのはいいけど、今日くらいはちゃんと彼女にありがとうしなきゃダメでしょ。ゆうた、言ってることはもっともだけど、口にローストビーフを入れちゃったらありがとうって言えないんじゃない？確かに。ごめんね、ゴーチン、ケンケン。
I was also constantly amused by Moon's member Mikado and his sudden excited outbursts. The way he would gush over the quiet Momo was a very cute friend dynamic. These are just a few examples, but honestly, I enjoyed all the characters. They're fleshed out enough to be unique to themselves, and it's obvious that they're all good kids who care a lot. It was like watching a sports anime team rise to the top. You just couldn't help but root for them, especially when you see how excited they all are for an upcoming 3-month concert across Japan. They're rising to stardom, and it's just nice to watch people's dreams come true. I'm the type of person who enjoys seeing others succeed. However, we soon realize it's not all happy-go-lucky banter and happy success stories. Working in show business can be brutal, and some serious obstacles begin to throw themselves in the way of B Pro's success. Once the drama hit, I was really invested. The game pumped me up with the joys of watching others' enthusiasm and success just to slowly then suddenly rip it away. It just really solidified my opinion that paparazzi and gossip magazines suck. And a single rumor that spreads across the internet, whether it's true or not, can really affect people's lives and careers. I was now watching these happy boys struggle, and it was sad. I wanted them to succeed. But it did its job and kept me glued to my Switch. Because I would tell myself to stop here, save here, but then I just kept reading because I wanted to know what happened next. Unlike some other visual novels, B Pro only has 2 endings to unlock. The game is basically a sit back and enjoy kind of ride, with no real choices to make that would affect the main story of the game. There are, however, 14 different epilogues, one for each B Pro member, that you can unlock by raising your affection levels with the boys. This is done by answering phone calls and text messages. Throughout the game, you will receive text messages from the different group members. This can be anything from them asking you for work advice to just wanting to say hello. While some text messages are integral to the gameplay, forcing you to read them right away and reply to continue the story, most of them are messages that you will collect on your phone that you can choose to stop and reply to right away or wait to respond to. Be warned though, there is a time limit to these messages, so if you wait too long to reply, you'll end up missing your chance. Your responses to these messages is what causes your affection to grow with the members and is also what will cause the story to branch off, opening up new scenes and CGs. You will also receive phone calls from time to time, which you can choose to answer or ignore. If you ignore a call, it will be saved as a voicemail that you can listen to later. Your smartphone in-game is basically your menu hub. It's where you can find text messages and voicemails, as well as save and load the game and adjust settings. It's also where you can find a manual to the game that gives you a quick rundown of how to play. My favorite feature of this manual was the little profile of every important character in the back. It helped me keep track of all the names and who was talking about who. I'm already bad with remembering people's names, but when you throw 14 of them at me, and every character refers to other characters differently, it was a lifesaver for me. The visuals of B Pro are really cool, with animated 2D sprites reminiscent of games like the Japanese Tokimeki series and Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage. It really helped bring the characters to life and was a fun change of pace to most other visual novels I played. One issue with this, however, is if you are playing the game in handheld mode, these visuals are not smooth and tend to stall. Sometimes the mouth and body movements are smooth, but more often than not, they freeze and stutter. I never ran into this problem when I had the game docked, but considering one of the selling points of the Switch is the portability, it's something to consider if it's going to bother you or not. B Pro is also available on Steam, and I did play the demo on my Steam Deck just to see if it had the same issues, and I'm happy to say it did not. The CGs are gorgeous and there are plenty to collect. Some are automatic to the story, while others are only collected by meeting certain criteria in-game. So if you want to collect them all, you'll definitely be playing the story more than once. Other things to collect in-game include personal stories for each member. This includes 3 chapters about the characters during their training days with the company, as well as 2 episodes each of the most popular character stories from the mobile game B Project Kaikon Everyday. But this time, they are all fully voice acted. There's also a special menu option that includes 5 specials with 6 mini-stories each, as well as the Shared House special that has 14 episodes, 1 for each B Pro member. These stories are not voice acted, which is a disappointment, but they're also not locked and can be played at any time, whether you finish the main game or not. I also really enjoyed the UI of the game, especially for the idols. They were color-coded to match their personalities and had an extra display in the corner with their full name and what idol group they were part of. As a newcomer to the series, this was very helpful for me when trying to keep track of who everyone was. The music is pretty catchy, but kind of generic for the most part. I do wish they had included more of the members singing, because whenever it would occasionally show up, I would always stop what I was doing and jam out for a while. The theme song has been stuck in my head since they first announced the game. The localization of B Pro is done very well, with only a few occasional typos. This could be something they fix on release, but for the most part, they weren't a huge deal. I've seen far worse. I will say it is kind of weird that Yuzuki's name is translated to Yuduki, especially when it's very obvious that his name is Yuzuki when that's what all the voice actors are saying when referring to him. Another gripe I have is during more wordy moments of dialogue, their text gets very small. It's kind of annoying on a larger TV, but especially when playing a handheld, it can be hard for players to read. Something I've seen other games do is have a scroll bar so that the text remains the same size, but the player can scroll to read everything. It's something I think they could improve and fix that would really help perfect the game. If you're looking for your typical otome romance, then this is not the game for you. However, if you're a fan of boy bands, and J-pop idols especially, and enjoy a story about a team working hard and overcoming challenges to meet their goals, then you might want to give B Pro a try. I personally am really enjoying it. Otome Gaming gives B Project Rusei Fantasia a final rating of 3.8 out of 5. B Project Rusei Fantasia officially launches both on Nintendo Switch and Steam July 15th. There is currently also a demo available on Steam if you'd like to give the game a try beforehand. B Project Rusei Fantasia has an ESRB rating of T for teen. For more trigger warning details, please see the official ESRB link in the description.